Okay, hi. My name is McCants. I'm a graduate student at JSU, getting my Master's of Education in Instructional Leadership. This is my comprehensive exam, and before I start, let me just say that my overall experience has been amazing. My research project was on science EQT proficiencies for the freshman class. But before I go into detail about the project itself, let me give you a little bit of background history on Murphy High School. So this is a picture of the campus of Murphy High School. It's very big. Kind of resembles a college campus. We have several different buildings. We have a population of 2,200 students, 75% African American. We have different cultures and races that are represented in our population. So what is the problem? The problem is that consistently freshman students are not being proficient on the EQT. The EQT stands for the end of quarter test, and that is a district initiative. So this is only something that we use as a district to measure our progress. So from the years 2009 to 2013, as you can tell in the blue, that represents quarter one, red is quarter two, green is quarter three, and then you have purple for quarter four. What the data shows us is that our students are not meeting proficiency. Proficiency is when 77% of the students make a C or better on this district exam. The highest that we've had, the highest percentage we've had has been in year 2010, 2011, and that was at 66%. We have not met proficiency in science in the past 4 years. So that's the problem. So what's the hypothesis? Well, what's the solution for this? So my solution would be that past EQT scores will increase or improve for freshmen who have participated in in-depth literacy strategies that's specific to the content, and in this case it's going to be science. And as a result, it will raise those EQT scores. The research was done for this. I used research-based strategies. One thing that really stuck out to me was that new science vocabulary words presented in 1 year is more than the vocabulary words presented in 1 year in foreign language courses. That says a lot. So students, we speak English, and that's most of their native language, but they still have a problem processing new information and learning the new vocabulary. Also, vocabulary and background knowledge are two of the most powerful means of improving learning and comprehension. So again, that is why we're focusing on literacy strategies. There are other things that we could have done to help improve these scores, but the research says that literacy strategies is one of the most proven ways to improve vocabulary comprehension. Also, the stronger a student's literacy skills, the better they grasp the science material. You don't read science like you would read any other topic that you would have. So what's the action plan? This was done back in 2014, last year. So we took that data and we decided that in the spring of 2014, last year, that we would implement this with one class of 25 regular students. 16 were female and 9 were males. All students were first-time freshmen. So in January, we met with the teachers, selected our participants, and we also had some home participation from the parents. Parents had to sign consent forms saying that they wouldn't mind their child being a part of this study. We also gave objective-based pre- and post-exams for each objective. That all happened in January of last year. In February, we implemented the strategy that is called QAR. QAR stands for question, answer, response. So students took material, they read it, and they had to formulate their own questions in the perspective of the author. Then in March, every month we gave pre and post objective. In March, the strategy we focused on was the summary pyramid. Summary pyramid is when students took a topic and they took that topic and made synonyms for it, antonyms, used it in sentences, and also used real-world connections to make an understanding of the new vocabulary terms. In April, we used the Freyer model. The Freyer model is where you take one topic, you use examples, non-examples, related to real life, and you can even use illustrations to depict the vocabulary. In May, that's when we took the EQT, and then finally in June, we had analyzed and interpreted the data. Now, I will say that literacy strategies is not just a focus for the freshman class, it's also a school-wide focus. Right now, we are doing war strategies, and that is when students will read a material that have a cold read, so something they've never seen before, and they will talk to the text, they will annotate the text. The purpose of that is to produce a written summary, an opinion that is also used to help for the writing portion of the ACT. So I just wanted to add that literacy strategies is not something that we're just using in the freshman class, but it's something that we're using school-wide. So, what were the results? I'm glad to say that out of the 25 students that were tested, 20 met proficiency on the EQT. That's a lot, so that means that 20 students made a C or better. That's 80%. But then we have to look at it. This is out of about 200 to 300 freshmen who at the time were taking science. So what were the overall results? The overall results were third quarter, this is the quarter before literacy strategies, the physical science EQT data proficiency was 25.8%, but that decreased down to 16%. So it's not showing where it helped the entire class, but from this data, out of 20 out of 25 students making proficiency, I think that speaks volumes. And this is just for one focus group. So now the next step is to implement this with 2 classes, 3 classes, 4 classes, until eventually the entire freshman academy science teachers are doing literacy strategies, because the data has proven that literacy strategies for the freshman academy, it works and it increases those scores. How am I on time, Ms. Baby? Okay. So what are the standards that I have met as far as for instructional leaders? This entire plan has been for continuous improvement. I had to meet with teachers, especially the participating teacher, so I had to lead and I had to motivate staff, students, and I also had to establish relationship with families to achieve this. Work with the faculty to identify those instructional and curricular needs. We use external resources. We use literature and research-based strategies. We also use goals to manage our activities. Our goal was for students to be proficient on the EQT. We also delegated the tasks clearly, appropriately. We had a timeline. So those were the results of my research project, which is an ongoing project. Now, next, throughout the entire program, I can say that I've learned a lot. One of my first classes was EIM 503, and that's instructional technology. I learned a lot in that class, and I must say one project that I've done that I'm most proud of is a web quest that I created for my students. These are screenshots from live text, and the web quest was Visit My Biomes web quest. This is an idea and something that I've been doing for a long time in the classroom, but I've never created it electronically. So this is something that is new. So as you can see from the screenshot, when students do the web quest, first they have a page list on the right that has the introduction, task, resources, process, conclusion, evaluation, and also the standards. So students have the rubric before they even start the process, so they know what to expect, and so they have goals and objectives of their own. After the introduction, there is the task. The task at hand was for students to create a Prezi presentation. There's even a link to Prezi and also helpful YouTube videos for tutorials for Prezi. There are also judges that I brought outside of the classroom, colleagues, faculty, staff, and also mentors in our intervention program that are juniors and seniors. They come and they evaluate the students as well. So that's the task. Resources. So I don't just leave students hanging about what to do. I also give electronic resources that will help guide and aid them in getting the information that they need. What is the process? The process is the procedure in which the students will follow to meet their goal. So they choose a partner, and then individually they complete a web quest activity. Notice that there are hyperlinks in each slide or on each page for the students. And then finally, I also have the date that it's due and exactly the process for turning that in. The conclusion. At the end of every lesson, as all teachers should follow the cycle of instruction, you always want to close. You always want closure, and you want to revisit your objective. What was the objective for today? What did you learn? And then this is the conclusion. So when students have concluded with the project, they do a self-assessment, and they must give me the news, just on a little short. It's a very quick assessment, so it's not so, and it's a formative assessment. So they tell me what they notice, what they enjoy, what they wonder, what they suggest, or what they still need. And then finally, the evaluation. The evaluation, this is the rubric, and there is a rubric that is attached. So this was my favorite thing that I've done in graduate school. I want you to notice that it's lengthy, it's very time consuming, but most importantly, it's detailed and it's student oriented. It focuses on the student. Colorful pictures, colorful letters, electronically technology, because they are in the technology age. And then the standards that I covered with this is I've implemented a plan for the use of technology, and not just the use of technology, but for other information systems, because they have to go and use other things, not just the computer, but the smart board. There are various types of technology they can use. They can also use webcams. They can also use their iPods or iPhones for video purposes. I also promoted effective integration of technology and use technology to analyze student assessment data. And these are my references. Thank you very much.